All right, morning guys. Yeah, I was just getting ready to actually pull this engine out, and I'll explain why in a second. And then I realized I hadn't made a vmount part 3 video, so this is gonna be it. Just gonna do a really quick walk around and show you guys the final result of this whole vmount kit. Excuse the engine, it's a little dirty and dusty right now. I've been sitting doing body work on the car, but this is it. Yeah, I think I left off the last video. I kind of had everything mounted, but none of the tubing was run. So I'll go over that to start. So yeah, for the intercooler, pretty straightforward. Just a straight section tube with a bit of a curve going down to the intercooler there. And yeah, that just goes through 90 to my turbo there. That worked out fine. I really should have just cut this here and used a 90 degree or 75 degree silicone, because this was popping off of the track, but you know, whatever, it's kind of made it work for now with a couple clamps. And on the other side, just I think this was a bit, normally a 90, or it came as 90. I just kind of cut it down, and I did have a blitz on here before, but that kept seizing up on me, so I got this Greddy, which is a little bit different design, and it seems to work fine. It's got a diaphragm instead of a piston kind of design, so that works fine. And that's all on like so. So that was kind of the intercooler. That was pretty much the easiest routing. If we go down here, I'll grab my little light here so you guys can see. Again, everything's super dirty from lots of drifting, but yeah, probably looking down here you can kind of see the try that, kind of see the oil lines there. So again, this is the stock FC oil cooler that I used in the middle of my V-mount. So yeah, I've got my feed and return lines going in there, and they go in line to a filter on the way to the cooler. So that's how that works. That worked out all good. The hardest part of all this, and I'll put some photos in of this, is the radiator and those tubes. So yeah, I probably didn't need to be this difficult. What I did was actually extend the outlet from the bottom, and I ran it all the way up along here and into my tube. And then you can see down there, and sorry, it's a little bit hard to do with one hand, but I've got the other inlet, or I can't remember which was the inlet outlet, at the top there. So that worked out like so. Yeah, I guess this would be my inlet actually here, because that's coming out of the thermostat. So yeah, inlet is at the back, and then outlet is here. So it goes down to the bottom and then gets pumped up through, and yeah, I just did it like that. So that's all fine and dandy. Now to get my fill port, I just basically cut a hole in the stock thermostat housing and welded on that 1-inch OD tube. Welded my filler at the top, and that all worked out pretty good. So we got a nice high spot. Looking at the front, that's the highest spot of the cooling system. So it was super easy to bleed this thing. Like, I just pretty much filled it up. It bubbled for maybe 20 seconds, and that was it. So yeah, and then I've got my fan on the bottom. I don't know if you can see. That's all shrouded off. So, and there's a look in from the front. I ended up ditching those little divider fins, and I found it worked a lot better like this. So that's kind of it. It looks cool. It works good. So those are both positives. The only thing I don't like about this is it really cuts down the access to the front of the engine. So like, I've got a bad front main seal right now, and if I want to change that, I've got to drop all this stuff out, and it's all got to come out anyways now, because I actually found out this engine's got low compression on cylinder 3. It's only making like 80 psi, and part of the reason for all that oil and crud buildup in this sort of area is the bull-by was so bad that when my blow-off valve was going off, it was just shooting oil, and it coated like all under the hood with oil. Yeah, you can see that still oily on my finger there. So it was making a mess, and engine was kind of down on power. So this thing's coming out, and I've kind of made the tough decision to actually part ways with the CA and go to a more supported engine that I can make power with a little bit easier. And at the same time, I'm probably going to be ditching the V-mount after all that work. You know, it's cool. I'll hang on to it. I'm not going to sell it, but you know, one day if I can afford to put a rotary engine in this thing, which isn't going to be now, but one day, you know, then I could utilize this and I'd have still lots of space for my engine. I could actually work on it. But I just find this is a little bit cramped, and it's just not ideal. So I'm going to be probably going to like what you see on S13s, where they've got radiator, high mount, kind of tucked intercooler at the top of it, and then just an oil cooler. That seems to work fine. That's what most people run for 4-banger turbos on S13s, that sort of thing. So I'll be going to something similar most likely. I don't see myself keeping the V-mount, but you know, I'll still hang on to the parts. Did put a lot of work into that. I think it's cool to kind of have it hanging on the wall or something. So yeah, that's kind of the V-mount part 3. Lots of aluminum welding. That radiator was a total pain in the ass. Like, I was chasing leaks for ages, and I did pressure test it before I assembled it, but for the most part, everything else was smooth. Like, this was pretty easy. Oil lines were easy. It's just, if I were to do this again, you know, I'd probably not weld directly off of the rad like I did. I would probably just run a silicone tube all the way down, or a combination of just some hard pipe and silicone tube, and use the factory inlet and outlet. I wouldn't go ahead and dick around trying to add that on there. It's just, it was a lot of work, but it did make me a better welder. You know, I'm not amazing, but I was able to lay down those sort of beads by the end of it. So they're not perfect, but they're a hell of a lot better than when I started. So there's that, I guess. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. So this is the car right now. Probably gonna be ordering a real BN kit for it from Japan, because no joke, guys, I've spent almost a year trying to make this rep kit fit, and it's getting to me now. Working on weekends and stuff, I've had enough. So I'll probably be ordering that soon, and yeah, just putting something in here that's built up, and yeah, still looking at engines. Haven't decided exactly what I'm gonna do, but kind of make an update video when I start on that. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys.